What's going on, y'all? It's Chuck Nunface. Gonna take a look at some stitches today. We're gonna be getting into some stitches here. As you see on the table right now, I've got 3 stitches from Microtech knives. We have 2 automatic and 1 of the new Ram-lok models, the manual stitches. And so I kind of wanted to kind of go over a little compare, contrast, and everything else. And at the end, I also want to kind of get your opinion. I'm only going to keep one of these knives, and so I've already decided which one I want to keep. I'm not going to keep all 3 of these. So I've already kind of decided, but I'd like to know what your opinion is and what you would keep if given the opportunity to choose one of these 3, which one you would keep. And so if you haven't done so already, go ahead and subscribe to the channel. I certainly would appreciate that. There's a little button right there that you can click on and go ahead and get subscribed. And yeah, comment which one you would choose, and then yeah, share the video out there too. I'd certainly appreciate that as well. And so this one's been getting a lot of attention, the manual, the Ram-lok stitch. So I mean, it's something that the kind of the knife community has clamored for a while, is a manual version of, you know, that classic Borka design, that really aggressive design that just definitely appeals to a lot of people. And so certainly the stitch has been a very popular knife for Microtech over the years. It tends to sell out quite rapidly. Now you do see these automatics staying in stock a little more often because there is all of that desire and that activity over the manual version of this. And you know, it's understandable why. I mean, it's got a great action. Microtech now has those 3 Ram-lok versions out. They have, of course, right here the stitch, but they also have the MSI, the Microtech standard issue, and of course the amphibian, which I did a review on recently. And the amphibian is really one of the best knives that I've picked up in a while. It's definitely one of my favorites. So you know, this manual has been just very, very popular. And then of course we have the full serrated stitch right here. Now, you may not like it, but this, in my opinion, is what peak stitch performance looks like. I think this is the stitch in its purest form right here. Full serrated, just as it was meant to be. Is it the most practical? Probably not. But serrations aren't as impractical as a lot of people in the knife world like to think they are. They definitely can handle a lot of EDC tasks. Yeah, are they good for certain things like slicing paper or peeling an apple? No, they're not going to really excel at that. But you know, you can break down cardboard or do any real sort of EDC task that you need to do with this full serrated blade. You know, and I would argue this would serve a lot of people better if they worked in a industry where they had to cut straps or rope or something like that a lot. You know, a lot of guys, they have to cut straps off pallets. You know, a serrated blade is probably going to be the way to go. So that, in my opinion, is the way the stitch is in its purest form right there, that full serrated version. But, you know, of course, for everyday carry, for a lot of people, it's probably not going to be what they're into. But kind of moving on here, some of the things that are different about the manual stitch as opposed to the classic automatic stitch. The manual, other than, of course, the fact that it is a manual, it has that Ram-lok, as I've discussed. The clip is certainly different. It's now a deep carry clip, which a lot of people have had issues with. I haven't, but I haven't carried this knife a super lot. But a lot of people have had kind of issues with this clip bending out. For me, it's been a non-issue, like I say, but you know, your mileage may vary. And this has the traditional clip right there, which is not a deep carry clip, which I like. I don't love a deep carry clip. This one's not so bad because it does leave a little bit of the knife sticking out. But as you see, I've kind of touched on this before, those screws sit kind of proud on that, so that's not ideal on that. But with the automatic version of the stitch, that little hump right there tends to get hung up on jeans. It doesn't do that with the brachial for whatever reason, which has the same type of clip, but on this one, both my stitches, it does. But, you know, it kind of is what it is. It's not that big of a deal. One thing that is pretty noticeable, in my opinion, is the blade profile. Now, with the Ram-lok version, you'll notice the choil is, let's see the best way to do this. The choil is much more pronounced. Now, it's the same amount of blade. It's kind of hard to line up there. It's the same amount of blade, really. Now, you notice the automatic version has a little sharpening notch and everything else right there. This one, the choil goes all the way out. Now, I understand why, because it's got to make that clearance for the Ram-lok, because as you can see, the blade goes right up behind that housing for the Ram-lok right there. And of course, you know, with the automatic, you don't need that. It just drops right in underneath that stop pin. So you have a bunch of additional clearance right there for the blade. What I think would be really cool is if they were able to make the blade go a little further down and have the same amount of choil on there. Now, I guess from an engineering standpoint, I understand why they did it this way, but visually, it just kind of bothers me. It seems like there's too much. Now, I understand, I get it, that there's the same amount of blade, but I just feel like I'm choked up way too far if I'm up like this. And it just, I don't think it's something I can get past. I don't know. It's not my favorite thing in the world. It really isn't from a visual standpoint. So I think you can probably guess where I may be going with this, where I will probably end up selling this one right here. Not because it's a bad knife. It's just because I think I really just prefer the automatic better than the manual in the stitch blade, or the stitch pattern. I think I just visually, this is not a knife that I'm probably going to end up carrying every day, any of these models. It's not going to be the first one I grab, but there's always just something very visceral and cool about this Borka design that just really appeals to me and frankly a lot of people. And so it's one that I definitely want to keep in the collection. Don't need all three, that's for sure. And so I've already decided which one I'm going to keep. At this point, I guess you know it's not going to be the manual. I will be putting that one up for sale. So if you follow me on Instagram at Chuck_Nunface, stay tuned. That one's going to go up pretty soon. And then we'll see which one of these two I keep. But let me know in the comments which one you like the best, which one you would keep, you know, and if you have plans to pick up any, you know, either an automatic or a manual stitch, you know, let me know as well. But that's going to do it for now. Just wanted to take a quick look at these right here, kind of keep it short and sweet. But yeah, let me know what you think in the comments. Give me a follow or subscribe to the channel. Certainly would appreciate that. And stay tuned for the next one. Peace.